Hello and welcome. Just start the music and regain access to my YouTube account, which asks me to log in again, as sometimes happens. And welcome to anybody who's watching this, presumably later, because I don't think anybody's live here yet. Thank you for your attention. That's not what I want. There you go. There's my socials. And then the Discord. So hopefully, well, there's nobody here just yet, but hopefully people listening later can hear me. I guess I'll get started. So yeah, let me take down the music. Welcome to the daily NFT market health analysis with me, Daniel Tanner, aka Swombat, where I look at what's happening in the market based on data rather than vibes, which of course the data itself can be subjective, but it's better than just the vibes, and it's better to have more data, I think, as long as you understand what the subjectivity is that's baked into the data. And what we've been talking about for the last few days is this assumption of like, does it happen that when the top 10 starts getting more activity, does it go to other indices? And we've sort of seen some possible indications of it happening here. And today we're seeing some possible indications of it happening here, maybe. And definitely no indications of it happening here at all with this drop. That's quite dramatic there. So yeah, I mean, the strength continues in the top 10. I think people are starting to feel more and more confident about the markets. The other side's release is approaching. There's lots of stuff going on, basically. And, you know, Moonbird is probably continuing to have like various things going on. And yeah, I think the market is fairly bullish. Like, who knows when Coinbase is going to open to more users. And we're seeing that, like, even if we don't know what those vibes are, we can see that in the charts. Like, the volumes have been rising, like, relentlessly following this kind of line here. And, you know, you can put, like, and it's important to notice that bias as well. You can put any interpretation you want on the fact that the volumes are rising. But the fact is they are rising. And bear in mind, this is a logarithmic scale. So volumes are rising fairly quickly when they're rising this steeply in a logarithmic scale. We're seeing a little bit of a dip on Zeneca Old, but nothing yet to be worried about. We know that this index is a bit more volatile. It's not quite as clear or as steady as the top 10. And we're seeing this sudden rise in Zeneca New, which of course could come straight back down. So let's not get too excited about it. Like in NFTs, I mean, we just literally just had this thing here. So it could just do the same thing again, or just more simply like this. So, you know, this is not a confirmed trickle down, but it's, you know, before it can go here, so before it can go like this, it has to start by going like this. And that's what it's doing now. So we'll see where it goes, but it's a good sign for now. If we look at the bar charts, we see here that whereas before it's very concentrated on Yuga Labs, which is like that brown, dark brown is the Mutant Apes and the blue is the Bored Ape Kennel Club. There's a little bit more spread. Like there's this red there, that's CloneX, bit of doodles in there. There's some mixture of projects that are starting to see some activity. So it's definitely trickling sideways into other projects in the top 10. A top 10 which I might revise in about 4 or 5 days at the end of the month. We'll see what projects are at the top. I haven't been able to update the index recently. I had these problems with the database a few days ago and haven't quite got the index. I mean, it is kind of working, but it's showing this 52 years thing. I don't know, like there's something wrong with it that I need to look into. But anyway, so we are seeing some kind of spread there in this top 10 index. Less spread now in Zeneca Old, which is maybe the reason for this dip. Like, you know, it's kind of like there was a bit of a spread here and it so went quite up and is going down now. Is it going to continue going down or is it going to go back up? I don't know. We'll see. And Of course, the big news of the day is, there's some rise here in Zeneca New, and it's across multiple projects. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 projects that are seeing increasing activity there. At least 6, maybe more. And that's a good sign. Because it's not just one project that's pumping, like here, for example. Well, that wasn't just one project pumping, but it's good, like, when it's like over several periods and we're seeing, multiple projects getting activity. The opposite is happening in the women-led projects. There was here like 1, maybe 2 projects getting a bit of extra activity, and then it's sort of like gone down. Well, there's 1 more here, but on the whole, the activity here in this index is just really bad. There's like, it's just not good. If we look at the longer term picture of the top 10, and please discount the red line for today, there's something wrong with it. Like clearly, we've been looking at this line for a while. That's not what it's doing in this index, as far as I know. So something's gone wrong there. I think I need to like clear the cache and get it to refresh or something. Maybe the server went down. Maybe something like it went wrong in some sort of way. So if we look here at the long-term picture, we can see this kind of very sharp rise. We can see that really interestingly, it's like hanging out at this level. Like I don't remember, like the last time it's hung out at this level for this long. Here in this kind of, but it was in a downtrend at that point. It's sort of recovered to this level and then collapsed down. So it could still happen that, it's going to go and do this. But like before that, the last time it was at this level for such a long time. It touched on this level. So if we draw a line like this, it touched on this level here and here and here, hung out there for a couple of days during the Jimmy Fallon pump. But even in the January bull, it didn't stay at this level very long. So this is quite good activity to have sustained at this level. The last time we had sustained activity at this level was the August bull market last year. So it's been a while since we've had this much activity in the top 10. So even if we just stay around this level, like even if it doesn't go like, start going up, but it just continues around this level, this is actually really good news. Like if those things are selling like about 100 NFTs ish every 4 hours across this top 10, so 10 per project roughly every 4 hours on average, that's actually a really good volume to be. Like remembering also that some of those are very high value NFTs, and that sort of moves the liquidity around, allows people to free up their liquidity to go and buy other things. Like they feel more confident selling because there's activity going on. It's good. If you look at the project and it's selling 10 every 4 hours, that means that every 24 hours it's selling 60. A project that's selling like that's getting 60 sales every 24 hours is not bad. If I look at my portfolio right now, which most things there are definitely not selling 60. Like if I sort it by sales 1 day high, okay, so the hug is selling 87 at the moment, but all the other ones are below 20, like around 20 and below. So 40 for top 10 projects would be really good. 40? No, what do we say? 10 times 6, 60. 60 per day. That's a really good volume for any project, like to get day in, day out. So if we hang out around here, we're in a really good place. We don't need to go much higher. I suspect it will go a little bit higher as we approach the other side, and unfortunately it's probably going to go down once we're on the other side of the other side. And maybe not, who knows? We'll see what happens. So yeah, so this is a really good picture. Like we're in a really good place with the top 10. My hypothesis is that this trickles down to other projects. We'll see if that's true. We'll see that over the next few days, or the next few weeks, I hope. I'm certainly hoping we get a bull market that lasts longer than a few days this time. This one was a little bit disappointing after all. And this one, when Russia invaded Ukraine, was even more disappointing. Well, it was not a bull market at all. It was just a fire sale. If we look at Zeneca Old, okay, so that one is not quite so strong. It's still on a kind of uptrend here, but we know this index is not like, tends to be a bit more random. and it's still being a bit random. I don't know what it's going to do next, of course, but if it sort of stays on this kind of trajectory, that's already still pretty good. Even if it doesn't show the sort of relentless, yeah, I'm just going to bounce off this line that the top 10 has been showing. So it's still quite a bullish position in this index. I'm still relatively positive on it. Of course, if we look at the long-term picture here, it looks like red volumes that are bear market levels in November, December. But once again, remember, this is not this index is not alive. It's not dynamic. It's not updated with new projects to replace old projects that have died. So it's unlikely for it to get back to these kind of levels, for example. It might do so in a spike at one point, but it's unlikely to get there, back there, until I replace this index with something that's more dynamically updated, which will happen eventually after I fix all the bugs that are already there at the moment. Not finally, but next we have the new. So there, as I said, we're still not like, there's still, you can still draw this sort of line, and we're still not gone above this. But before we can go above this, we need to get to this. And at least we're getting to it. And so we need to see what happens over the next few days. Does this actually start to break out here? That would be a really good sign. I think that's what I'd be looking for. Like, if we look at this exponential line, which is sort of defined, like this is kind of exponential down channel that's going on there. Maybe I can draw it slightly more optimistically, like this or something. Yeah, I mean, anyway, the bottom, the line at the bottom is not the important one. Is that top resistance line. If we break past this and start going up, then I will take my trickle down hypothesis as confirmed again in this market. If we rebound here and sort of continue back, like down here, then I will take it as not confirmed yet. So banana channel, very well labeled. This is the banana channel of Zenek U. Yeah, like, okay, so hold on, let's draw it like this then. There you go. It's the banana channel. We'll draw another line here. So we want to peel the banana so that it starts to go like this. Well, maybe not backwards, but up. Anyway, that's your Zenek U analysis for today. The banana channel. Women-led projects is not getting a banana channel at the moment. It's just getting still just a downwards. There's no sign of it going up. I mean, that's not drawn very well, but you get the idea. It's, oops, I didn't know I could do that. That's interesting. Yeah, so it's down. It's at like historic low levels. Like, yeah, I don't know what to say. I think it's another index that maybe I need to make it more dynamic and start removing projects that have died and sort of like cycling them in and out so that it's more comparable. Because I think there's probably, like, if 100% of the projects in this index were alive here and 50% are dead now, which I don't know if they are. I haven't checked the data, but like there's a number of projects in there that are getting like, like the last sale was 7 days ago. I'd call that dead at this point. Like if this was in my collection here and I saw there's like, last sale, and I have some of those. I think that if they're sorted by sales 1 day high, I have some that have 0 sales. Like if you take these lockdown lemmings, which, there's a nice fun project-ish, like, at some point it was a free mint anyway, not a big deal. If you look at the activity and we see that, okay, well, there were a couple of sales 2 days ago at 0.01. So I guess it's not completely dead, that one. But there's definitely some in that index and definitely some in my... okay, this one I'm sure is dead. If we look at this was another free mint. And we look at the activity, the last sale is, okay, 3 days ago, 18 days ago, a month ago, 2 months ago. This is dead, basically. This is never going anywhere. Like unless it get discovered as a kind of historical curiosity at some point. But other than that, it's definitely not going to go anywhere. So there's a bunch of projects like that probably in that index. And those should really be cycled out in favor of projects that are alive. So, if we decide that this index is going to have the top 20 women projects, for example, then we should cycle out projects as they go down to get a better, more comparable sense. Like, is this volume actually bad? I think it is still bad, by the way. I don't think this is a good volume, but it's but it probably also looks worse because of the index composition. Which is again why I think it's really important. Like, there's charts like you can find. So Nansen has these charts where, sorry for geeking out about charts a little bit, but where are those charts? Probably in research. No, I don't know where they are, but they have some charts that reports maybe. No. Anyway, they have some charts somewhere that have some kind of index of like, the top, what they call a Nansen 10, or like the blue chip 10 and the NFT 500 and stuff like that. But you have no idea what's inside. So how can you evaluate whether the index makes sense, whether it's well composed? Like it's you have to kind of trust that somehow they've done their research really well and that they've balanced everything, that they've thought of everything. And it's hard to be able to tell that if you don't know what the underlying data is. With these charts, they're far from perfect. I'm certainly not suggesting that they are, but at least if you want to know what projects are in there and you want to check yourself, you can just look in the description of this video and you'll find the links to the data sets. It's a bit like if you've ever watched The Big Short, and there's that scene where the hedge fund manager played by Christian Bale is just going through the reports of all the mortgage-backed securities, and he's like, yeah, this is bollocks, this is like, they're all shit, this is all going to zero. You need to be able to see what's inside, otherwise you don't know, you're just taking on trust that somebody else has actually done that due diligence. And the fact is, the world today does not inspire me to take it on trust that everybody else is really paying attention to all the signals they should, especially when they're just producing a report for a company is paying them a salary. I find that as an investor who actually cares about what these things are telling me, I'm more likely to, pay more attention. But even so, I'm human. And so you need to be able to check my work to decide if you trust it. Let's have a quick look at Bitcoin, I've moved this bar, by the way. It was kind of here. I feel like, here is probably actually more accurate. It's now got kind of like 3 touch points there-ish. It's not a perfect support line, but it seems more appropriate. So in this sense, we're actually still in the channel, which kind of explains why it hasn't dropped massively. Whilst here it looked like, it got out of the channel. Why didn't it just fall out or whatever? But we're still getting quiet-ish days. It's sort of moving sideways. There might be a bit of turbulence as we approach the end of this, and we figure out which one of those is strongest. Some people suggest that there's going to be a suckers rally and then it's going to collapse. Others say that, no, we're like in a bullish pattern. It depends on who you ask. And of course, doesn't matter what the technical analysis say. You just need something like, I don't know, the central bank of Dubai or India or Singapore or something like that announces that he's bought, I don't know, £1 billion worth of Bitcoin to put in his foreign exchange reserves, and that's going to create a rally that's going to shoot us up here. So you never can tell these things unless, of course, you have insider information, which some people do, but I don't. I think that's it for the charts for today. So we're going to start looking at non-fungible films, which is the project we're going to review today. You just have a little bit of water and then we'll get started. If you have some questions, please post them. So, non-fungible films. So as usual, disclaimer, this is not an in-depth review. I would have to talk to the founders and do more research, talk to users to understand why they're buying it and so on, to get a better sense of what the project is. I'm just going and approaching it as I would if it's the first time I look at the project, which is what it is. And I'm not getting a complete picture of it. I'm just giving you my first impressions, my thinking process, what I think I would want to examine, what I think are the core assumptions that this project, I want to call it this startup rather than this project. I want to stop calling them NFT projects and call them NFT startups. as a kind of, because project feels like it lets people off the hook too much. This NFT startup, like what is my feeling about what are the critical points that I need to get right in order to be successful, so that you can hopefully learn from that and get some use out of my thinking. First thing, yeah, I mean, the website is very polished. Like, this is very fancy drawing stuff. They clearly know how to make art. I have to click on this, probably nothing. Coming soon. God, I'm not going to be able to watch all these videos. Okay, own your own TV shows. Like, I should probably watch this, but maybe I'll do that later. Let's keep that open. So, I mean, let's not click on all these things. It could take forever to click on that. First sense, yeah, like this is a very polished website, more like a regular serious business than a sort of a random sort of degen project. And that carries through in the description. Non-Fungible Films is an entertainment studio focused on bridging Web3 and mainstream media. We are empowering our community to create and engage in new and exciting ways. We are so moved by the talent we've already discovered. As a member of the NFF family, you have access and opportunity. I kind of, like, as usual, I sort of wish they started with the why. Why does this exist? Why do you create this? Tell me, like, why do I have to try and guess why you create it? Let's try about us, our vision. Will be the key that unlocks everything to our Web3 universe. So there's a kind of membership pass. That's what they're selling. From our multiverse, the great beyond, to our creative studio, where we hope to accelerate some of the next unfound talent to produce our own IP. Developing high-quality content and engagement for Web3 collections across multiple platforms. NFT and community, play to earn gaming, and view to earn streaming. So... there's a lot to take in on this site. So first of all, they've clearly, like, put a lot of effort into this. This is not a low effort project, very clearly. This is again a serious business that's using NFTs as a fundraising mechanism, which I think we'll see more and more of those. And they're not always going to get, like, marketing is really difficult, and they're getting across the fact that they're a serious team. And I'm sure if I click on team, I'll see some serious looking people. Yeah, they look very serious to me. And also some apes. Well, Web3 advisors. Good old Zeneka is here. He's everywhere. But they're not really, like, so I think that what I would like to see, because I'm being pitched, like, you should, so, like, in a traditional investor relationship, like, it's very clear what I'm buying and how I'm going to get a return if I buy it. In an NFT investor relationship, it's less clear. It's very easy to design an NFT that's not going to grow in value with the product. So it would be nice if that was clear up front. What is the value of, like, why should I invest in your project now when it's not yet super successful? Which I assume it's not yet super successful. Big idea, fully docs and appearance team. So credentials are a reason to invest. First production on the soundstage will be Oscar, Haley, and the Great Beyond. So they've got some things in the pipeline. Now, the thing about media production is it's much like the startup world. As I understand, I don't know that much about media production, but as I understand it, it's very similar to the startup world in that it's hits driven. Like, I've often heard the startup world compared to media production because it's also hits driven, which being hits driven means that the one or two startups in your portfolio that actually make it, that actually, like, succeed, return your entire portfolio profits, and the rest are like either write-offs or like break even, but they don't matter. Basically, it's just that one that you need to get. So, like, if you're a seed investor, like seeds fund or something, and you invest in a bunch of startups, like you invest in 20 startups that fail, but one of those 20 is Dropbox or Airbnb, you've made your profits for the fund. Like you've got a successful fund just from that one investment. And I think it's similar. My understanding is similar with movies. You fund a bunch of movies or series or something, and most of them can just splutter out and fail. And then one of them is, I don't know, Queen's Gambit or something, or Sex Education, or one of the series that does really well, and you've won because you got that one. Although I'm not sure exactly how the economics of a Netflix series work, but I think it's kind of similar. It is like that for movies anyway. Series might be slightly different. So let's say you fund a bunch of crappy movies, but you also happen to fund, I don't know, what's a movie that's done very well recently? I don't have one in mind. Just imagine your own movie that's done very well, and you fund one of those, and that returns your returns from that one movie. And so I'd have a concern about, like, will they get enough shots, and will their shots be high enough quality and stuff? Like, it's not a business that I know a lot about, basically. So it's hard for me to evaluate their ability to create films. As an investor, I've had lots of invest in my film opportunities pitched at me, because films are always looking for investment, and I don't invest in those because I don't understand the business. So it's hard for me to understand whether this is going to hinge on. So there's a membership pass, and it says here unlock all the things, and if we click here, we see details about the membership pass, and we see, okay, it gives you access, voting rights. I'm not sure if voting rights is necessarily the best thing, necessarily that useful. Real life events, early access to NFF content. Like, all this thing is really great if they make the really successful movies. Like, like if this is Marvel, for example, to take an extreme example, and you get early access to all their content, yeah, like people would pay for that. There's definitely people who would pay thousands of dollars to get early access to all the Marvel content, and the director's cuts and all this, the things like before everybody else. They'd love it, and they'd love to be able to vote on stuff like that. But for that, you need to build a successful movie, like movies or series or whatever, which I have no idea if these guys are capable of doing that. They sound like they probably have credentials to do that. I mean, I'll look at that a little bit later, but if we look at the team, cryptocurrency fund, that's not really in creative world. So let's have a look at this. I mean, somebody who's been in the industry for a while, so maybe she can deliver on this. Executive and producer, 20 years working, established and up-and-coming talent, creating and expanding genre. Like, they've probably got the credentials to say that they could do this. I don't know if movie making is a place where credentials are the most important thing, because I don't know this industry very well. Before investing in this, I think what I'd want to do is find somebody who is actually in this industry, who understands what makes a creative studio successful, who can then give me a more insider perspective on, is this one likely to be successful? Because there's a lot of creative studios out there trying to make movies, trying to be successful. Not most of them are not getting funding through NFTs at the moment. But just because this one is getting funding through NFTs doesn't mean it's actually going to be successful. It might well be, and I wish them all the best, and I hope they are successful. But there's no guarantee of that, and I'm sure they know that as well. And the value of this membership pass hinges entirely on whether they will make successful movies. I think it's a more credible pitch than the startups that say, we're just going to build a global brand, and you'll be like, our PFP will be worth a lot because you've bought into this global brand, and we're going to be the next Basie or the next Punks or whatever. It's more credible than that, but because it's more focused, more tangible. They have credentials that are are about that and so on. But it's still a big risk on this kind of investment. And just because it's a big risk doesn't mean it's a bad investment. But you need to assess that risk for yourself. And for me, before investing in something like this, I would want to talk to somebody in the industry. I would want to find somebody who's already working. And I know a couple of people who work in the, like I know somebody who used to work for Amazon's movie production things, and I can't remember what it's called, Amazon Studios or something like that. Prime Studios, I don't know what it's called, but anyway, she worked there, and I would ask her, and I would say, like, what do you think are their chances? You know, would you invest in them, and why would you invest in them, and why would you not invest in them? What are the pros and cons? And I'd ask an industry expert before investing in something like this, if I felt like I want to get started investing in a project like this. I don't think, because they need to be successful outside of the NFT industry in order to be successful, so they need to make movies that people like outside of NFT holders. I don't think that just getting the NFT side of things right is going to be enough for these guys. I think they need to also get the movie side right, and it all hinges on that. Basically, they need to get the movies or the series to be sufficiently compelling that people want to watch them, and that they get a big hit, basically. So, can you predict based on the information here whether they're going to make a big hit? No, you can't. You can predict that they're probably going to play the NFT game all right, and like it sounds like they'll be wanting to reward their founders, like to figure out ways to reward their founders. And you know, if they do deliver the movies, then the passes will probably be worth quite a bit. And there's a bunch of other stuff there, like a token gated streaming platform to bypass subscriptions. They have a bunch of ideas there. They've licensed BASI for animated projects. That could be nice, but I don't think you can make a successful animated series brand with just BASI customers. And I think people who are not BASI owners are going to be less interested in the BASI series unless it's really good. So they have lots of big ideas. It's pretty cool. Although the big ideas, like the core of this, I think, and the thing that you're buying is that membership pass, and then there seems to be some extra. So there's going to be a 20k generative collection on this one. So maybe the membership pass is kind of like the launchpad pass, and then each of the productions is going to have its own collection, and then you have to not only invest in the membership pass to get access to the future collections or discounted access, but you also then need to buy into the collections afterwards. Yeah. I'm hesitant because that feels like a lot of risk that needs to be taken before I can actually get before I know if they're going to be successful. What's the price going to be? I think they're minting soon or today. Where is the price? Well, it's on OpenSea. Is it already on OpenSea? 2 ETH. Is it actually trading? 761 volume traded. Apparently it is trading. So they seem to have managed to sell out. Yeah, seems like they managed to sell out, and they got the price from wherever it was at that point, 1.1 to 2 ETH, and it's trading at about 2 ETH now. Volume is a bit low today so far, so I think it's probably going to trend back down. Don't know what the mint price was. The one time when I want an FAQ with like a bog standard FAQ to tell me, like, you know, there it is. FAQ is sold out. But see, like, you know, there's a big difference between having an FAQ that's at the bottom there and where you put all the boring questions and stuff, and that's totally sensible. That, you know, you want a place where people can answer those boring questions. But like a lot of other sites that we've reviewed have the FAQ on the front page, like quite high up the front page, as if it's a really big important thing that people need to see. It's not. Official mint links. What are NFTs like? Wow, you could buy it using ApeCoin. Interesting. So they've got some kind of connections with Bored Apes, which they've also like borrowed 50 Bored Apes or something. Okay, well there's no mint price there, so I don't know what the mint price was. If somebody knows in the comments, please do share. But it doesn't seem to be clear from this website what the mint price was. I would guess it was less than 1 ETH. I mean, if we look at Mobi instead and check out the charts, non-fungible. Oh, bollocks. Where is the site? NFF Studio. Right, and we look at the last 7 days. And it looks like they started selling at like 1.4 or something like that. So that, yeah, I mean, the mint price would probably be somewhere around 1 ETH, I guess, which seems quite high. It's a 1K item, so they raised 1,000 ETH if they raise it at 1 ETH, and then it's kind of gone up and stuck around 2 ETH. Yeah, I don't think I have that much more to add about this project. Yeah, I would buy into it if I've done my due diligence of talking to somebody who works in this industry, to be able to assess how likely they are to actually deliver successful projects. Like the productions, I think, are going to be the thing that works or doesn't work. So they're going to be working with other projects to produce their films. Yeah, and like working as a contractor can work a bit, but it's their own productions that are going to make them the real successes, I think. And people start these kind of studios because they want to produce their own things. Yeah. Okay. I don't feel like there's that much more that I can add about non-fungible films. It's not as like a standard PFP project, which is great. That's fine. There should be lots of different ways to use NFTs to fund businesses, and I'm glad to see, like, yeah, a kind of cool alternative way to fund a movie, like a production house, basically, using NFTs. And I'm curious to see if it works out for them. It's not an industry I normally invest in. I prefer investing in tech. But I can see why somebody might want to invest in this if they believe that this studio can produce great films, basically, and great series. Oh. Siri just activated itself. Sorry. Yeah. So, does anybody have any questions before I call the end of this? We're 38 minutes in. I'll put the music back on. If there aren't any questions, then we'll call it a day. So thank you very much for dialing in. Or for listening after the fact. I hope this review was useful. It feels like it was a little bit more difficult than usual because there's just so much stuff here, and I've probably missed some important things. Like, I haven't clicked on any of those things apart from the probably nothing thing. The town. Nothing here. Some kind of game, I guess. Mario Kart style. Yeah, so thank you for listening. I hope this was useful. I hope to see you tomorrow for another review. If you want a project to be reviewed, please join the Discord. The link is in the description, and suggest the project. At the moment, for tomorrow, we probably have Jenkins the Valet as the next project to review, and then after that, there's going to be another poll. Which currently has 4 projects on it, which are Lunatics, Meme VIP, Psychedelics Anonymous, and Los Muertos. So if you want to add a couple more, please join the Discord, or if you want to vote for them once I post the poll, please do so. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and see you tomorrow. Bye.